All right. Hey, everybody. This is Rob and Jordan of Archangel Inc., and we are back. This is Archangel Inc. Live, number 13. Jordan, how are you doing tonight? Uh-oh. Am I losing you, Jordan? Yeah, I can't hear anything. So sorry, folks. We were having some technical issues. We're going to hope that everything sorts itself out here momentarily, and Jordan will start to come through. But in the meanwhile, I will jump in and just intro. This week, we are going to be talking about Publisher Rocket. And Jordan, you're back. Okay, good.
I'm back. Sorry, guys. That might happen a couple times here. We're going to make do with this Wi-Fi that we're on.
We're going to do our best here. So this week, we're talking about Publisher Rocket. Last week, we had a question from a visitor to the page, actually to the live chat, and he asked about a KDP Rocket, aka Publisher Rocket demo, and we thought, oh, that sounds like a good idea. And we want to give the people what they want. We appreciate everybody who tunes in, and this week we're gonna start talking about this. And I will say that I am only moderately familiar with the application. I have messed around with it just a little bit, but Jordan has been working with it for a long time, and so Jordan, I want to cede control over to you to start getting this going. I'll interject with some questions along the way. I'm going to pretend that I am a beginning author and don't know too much, and
good deal.
Just ask for points of clarification along the way, and we'll see what we can demo. So take it away, Jordan.
Good deal. And I'm going to try. We can start the share screen option, and then you can do that in the background as we're talking about it. So hopefully that will just work for us here. But anyway, yeah, so we're going to be jumping into Publisher Rocket, formerly KDP Rocket. And then I'm going to be showing you kind of how I go through this times. And we've heard from a lot of authors who can come in and they start this program up and say, this looks cool. What do I do with it? And Dave Chesson over at Kindlepreneur, the author and creator of this program, has a lot of good resources on his site on how to use it. We definitely would recommend checking that out. But we're going to show you just how we use it, just how one set of authors use it, and hopefully we can answer some questions as far as what it looks like to use this program for different reasons.
Perfect. So, thank you, Jordan. And by the way, I am trying to set up a watch party.
Are we up?
Yeah, I'm working on setting up a watch party for Dale's group. And let's see, we've got Maybe you know how to do this, actually, Jordan. Would you, if you don't mind, set up a watch party over in Dale's group in case anybody is interested, and we'll try and get that going. So, Jordan, how's your publishing week going so far? Anything cool or interesting or fun that you want to share with the people out there?
Well, today I went on and did something. As my computer's trying to load this page. Woo, okay. I went on and submitted. I had an author friend of mine recommend that I submit and try to get on TV for a TV spot while I'm up here in Pennsylvania. I wanted to just submit that and see what I get from that. So I went in and filled that out today. I think it's just a lesson and something I need to get better with too, is doing something every day to be working towards what you're doing. Whether that's writing, authoring, business, just working on that to do just a little thing, even if it, I just submitted that thing, it took me 5 minutes. Cool. It was just one thing that I did. And I think that can be helpful.
Right on. Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. It's useful to just be in the habit of doing something. I mean, that's part of the reason I think that we're doing these live videos. It's nice to produce some content and give us a chance to engage with our audience out there and people who are interested in self-publishing in general. But it's also good to just exert some discipline and get into a regular routine, because it's out of that consistency that new developments and new information and new opportunities can potentially arise. So I think that is very cool.
I'm just about ready to post this here, so we should be good soon.
Okay, good deal. No problem. And we do have, it looks like on the YouTube channel, your screen here available. So once you have that all set up, Jordan, we can start screen sharing, and maybe we can duplicate that over on the Facebook stream as well.
Oh, yes. Thank you. I guess I have to hit the screen share in both, huh?
Yeah. Since we're dual streaming. So StreamYard, for folks who don't know, it's pretty cool. It gives you the functionality to stream to multiple platforms at once under certain plans. Right now, we are streaming to 2 different ones, but independently. So thanks StreamYard for allowing us to do that. And maybe there's some easier functionality for us down the road.
All right, Rob, let me know if that's working.
Okay. And gotcha.
I have Publisher Rocket up and ready to go.
Okay, I do see it, and let's pull that over onto the Facebook page as well. There we go. Okay, perfect. I think we got them on both here. So,
okay,
so Jordan, deal. I've never heard of Publisher Rocket before. What is this? Why do I care? What does Publisher Rocket do for me?
Rocket control the variety, and the main idea is on its spec out categories on Amazon. It's on searching, etc. So we're the 4 main key features: word analyzer, category search, which category search has just doing it on here versus doing it the old school way of just browsing through Amazon. Dave has a really cool system in here that I can't wait to show you guys. And as far as Amazon or Amazon advertising, which is because it's no longer called AMS, as far as I can see, I still call it AMS all the time. Amazon ads, that's what we're going to call this one. This is a powerful tool as well. I use it all the time. So as far as all of these, I use most of these. Probably the one I use the least is competition analyzer, but we're going to go into that and I'll kind of share the behind that, and then we can go into that a little bit. We're starting our program. Let's say you are just looking into self-publishing. Maybe you own a business and you are saying, hey, I want to see what's out there on Amazon, on the platform, a book. You try your example here. Bats in the South Pacific. Maybe you are just all about bats. I don't even know if there's bats in the South Pacific, Rob, but it doesn't matter because this is what we can check. If you're looking and say, I want to write about this very niche topic, we think that's great and we applaud you for that, but you just have to be realistic on, is there an audience for it? Is there any competition at all? Are there other books out there making any money in that niche? And maybe if you already have your own following, you already have a blog that, maybe, there's 100 people in the world that are into that. You have an audience of those 100 people. You could do great on Amazon because you are providing that audience. But if we're just looking at organic Amazon audience, maybe not. Let's just pop up. So we're talking about bats. Let's just type it in and see what happens. As we go and as we do this live, just keep in mind we are doing this live, and I'm just experimenting with this and seeing some of these things for the first time. I have no interest in bats, and I've never searched for this before, so we're going to see what it brings up. You can have the option to search for ebook here or book, which is a really cool feature that Dave added with this new Publisher Rocket. You'd think that as far as books and keyword searches and all that, it would be similar or it would be the same between the Kindle store and the print book store, but it's actually not. There's a variety of difference. And Dave gives you the option to search through each of those. For the most part, go ahead.
Can you give why are there differences? What are some of the differences? What does that mean to me as an author who's looking to use this?
I think as far as differences go, I mean, there are some books that, there are tons of books out there that don't have a print book option. Maybe for whatever reason, your niche isn't something where you would buy a paperback book. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but maybe it's people are just writing real quick and they're not going into print form. That would be on the ebook side of data,
like a short read or something.
Yeah, say it was like a Kindle short read, and you're not you're not creating a paperback book on that. Maybe it doesn't make sense to create a paperback book. I know there's some Kindle books that are in the 7,000 to 8,000 word range, which is very short for a print book and may not transfer over well.
Right.
And then as far as the print store, maybe you're looking at paper textbooks or something like that, where, if it's a college professor that written something, maybe he's not going to provide that in an ebook, or maybe he already has his own PDF or something like that. I don't know the ins and outs of the differences as far as why Dave, decided to create two different things for that, but it is just two different sets of data, and you can kind of see that. And same goes for as far as competition and categories and all of that. You'll see when we get to the categories piece, there are very different categories between the ebook and the print book stores, which has been surprising to me to go in and look at that. I don't think I realized how much of a difference there actually is.
Right.
But yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Cool. And this is why I like doing this together here, Rob, because it's a cool thing. We can kind of talk, and while I'm doing it, you can say, well, this might be a question that someone would have in here. So I typed in bats, and the first word is bats. So let's see if people are searching for bats. This is what I like to do. I like to kind of give just a skim glance at what is coming up. We're not seeing things like bats, anything specific with bats. It seems like it's more word variations of the word bats, which can be just potential, maybe you should search for something even more niche, like bat rituals, or I don't know. Like I said, I don't know anything about bats, but it may be bringing something up like the Great Batsby. I've never heard of that. So it's not necessarily a good sign that there's a lot of interest, maybe not even interest, but you really have to think in a different way when you're looking at keywords in general. It's not just as their interest for it, but is it like more of a question? Like why would someone be typing this in?
Right. So
for this first one right here, I would just hit this analyze button. And what this does is it shows up right away that, there are 8 right here. It shows a number of competitors, and we'll go over what these mean just so you can kind of get a feel for that. There's 8,038 books that come up when you search Amazon for the word bats. Now, again, Dave is pulling this information from Amazon Live. So you should see, if you type in bats in Amazon, you should see that there's 8,038 results, or it may say a number like, here's 1,000 plus reviews or something, but this is what it's pulling.
So I want to back up for 1 second. You said Dave is pulling this from Amazon Live. So I think that's important. In other words, this tool, it has to have a connection, and it's not a fixed database. This isn't like an encyclopedia that, you go, the Encyclopedia Britannica or something, you look it up and it says whatever it says about bats in there. It's actually more like Wikipedia or something, right? Because there's input coming in, and so the search that you put in today may not be the same as the one tomorrow, and may not be the same as the one, 6 months ago or 6 months from now. So this is real-time information. There's probably, I imagine, some overlap, but it could potentially change. And the platform, the Publisher Rocket platform, is really it's an interface for whatever data is out there currently. And I think that's important to know.
Yeah, it's important to know, just to see the power of this program, and also see, you don't necessarily have to buy a program like this to figure out the data. You can go on Amazon and do a lot of this yourself. This is just a really good way of seeing it quickly and not having to figure those things out for yourself. And as far as, I say that, but with a little caveat on, it's not necessarily easy to see how many times a book is being searched for within Amazon. Dave pulls this number based on, I don't know that he has. I'm not 100% sure how he pulls that. I think it might be sort of based on Google searches, because Google is free with showing what keywords are being searched for, and Amazon is a little bit more close-lipped about that kind of thing. So this is, as he says, estimate. He's able to pull this Google search number, but let's start at the beginning, and I want to just go over those numbers for you so we can have kind of an idea of what this is looking at. So 8,038 competitors, that's how many other books there are. These are what those books are earning average a month. I don't pay as much attention to this number right here because it can always be skewed either way. You know, if even if your search term is, you know, even if we're looking at the word bat, something else might come up. Like we might get a word about baseball. Maybe it's a super popular baseball book and it's pulling those numbers up. That one baseball book may be selling in number one because you're just searching for bats, a very generic keyword term.
Yeah, it's the history of the Louisville Slugger or something.
Yep. And it's pulling it, and then maybe that book's making a ton of money and it's pulling all those numbers in there. This is good just to see an average. If this is super low or super high, it's worth it to go into the competition, which we're going to see here. But yeah, we'll get to that in a second. And then Google searches per month, not available for that. Less than 100 searches per month on Amazon. So whenever it says less than 100, that's just the number that is not really worth our time. We're not going to really go for the keyword, just bats on its own. We're not going to necessarily want to write a book that's going for that keyword. If we can find a more specific one or one that works with what we're writing about, then that's something to consider. And then this last one right here is competitive score 59. It's how the, based on the competitors here in the beginning, all that are on the first page of Amazon, how difficult is it going to be for you to rank on that first page? Just like you work on, just like you work on SEO to get ranked first in Google, that's kind of what this is right here. How difficult is it going to be?
So 59, is that a good number? Or are you looking for higher? Are you looking for lower?
You are looking for lower numbers. I don't know if you can read that little thing right there. 0 is the easiest and 100 is the hardest.
Okay.
So you really, what you're looking for in this whole thing. So just to boil this down, Rob, for everyone listening, you're looking for, if you can, low competitors, high average ratings, high in Google searches and Amazon searches, and low in competitive score.
Okay. So that's kind of the holy grail for a topic that's likely to be profitable.
Yeah. And if you can find a topic like that and you're knowledgeable and you can write a book on it, then you know, more power to you. We'll, share here real quick. We'll do one more keyword that may be a little bit more familiar. I just recently wrote a book on work-life balance, so we're just going to look that up. And then, yeah, let's see here. So we type in work-life balance. You're getting a little bit more data here. I'm just gonna hit analyze in that first one. So maybe just work-life balance on its own. And this is an interesting thing. I wrote this book and I did a print book and ebook, and I know that the print book for work-life balance, there's actually a whole category for that. I don't know, you know, if there is more as far as Amazon searches, but that's just something to think about. So work-life balance was just you know, it was the idea of my book. It was about entrepreneurs and loving what you do, you know, and it was just a part of that. And maybe that's not the best search term for me to go for. Maybe there's other search terms in here. Maybe for some reason, work-life balance for men is something to look at more. And for whatever reason it is, you know, we look at work-life balance for men. And we recommend when you're doing your keyword, when you're inputting your keywords into Amazon as part of the 7 keyword boxes that you get when you upload your book. Not to go too far into that, but just wanted to mention, you know, you may want to type work-life balance as one of your keywords, but then for men at the end, because men are looking for that. They're not typing just work-life balance. They're typing in work-life balance for men, and how much more searches for that is great. So as far as keywords, Rob, this is a really good one right here. Honestly, just looking at it right off the top of the bat, I may have to go make sure I do have for men in there as far as my book goes. So you learn things when you look for this type of stuff. Right.
So in other words, relatively low competition, relatively high monthly earnings, relatively high number of searches, and relatively low competition score. So the marketplace is not too crowded for that particular phrase.
Yeah, and that's where, you know, you can really find out a lot of information, and you would want to do this for each of the keywords that you're thinking about for your book, just to see what's popping up, to see what could potentially be profitable, what you're looking at. I mean, as far as that specific keyword, that's a great keyword to add to a book about work-life balance. And it's, you know, you may not have necessarily thought of that had you not had a program like this that is filling that out for you.
Right. So if you're doing some market research ahead of time. You're still working on your book. Let's say you know the general topic, and then you kind of find out, okay, work-life balance for men. Maybe maybe that means as a part of the creative process that becomes a chapter in your book, or a particular focus of it, or maybe that's part of your sales copy. So you can describe, kind of hit that demographic as well.
Yes, exactly. And then, typically my readers, my audience tends to be mostly women. So another thing I would do here is, I would just type in as a keyword work-life balance for women and possibly see what comes up there, what we're looking at for that. So, it's one of those things, once you start with your main keywords, it's really something you can dive into and see what people are searching for on Amazon, see what the market is for that. You don't necessarily 100%, you want to be writing on something you're interested in, something you're passionate about. But, this is just one way to see what people are looking for, to make sure that there's at least some interest.
Right.
And this is, a helpful way. But if you don't have any more questions on the keyword thing, we'll move into what the competition looks like.
Cool. Okay. And so that's that green button right beside it.
Yeah, we're just going to hit that. So if I hit this, it's basically the same as over up here. It says main competitor analysis.
Okay.
See, you can use this. I want to look at the competitors for work-life balance, or, which is easier, and I recommend doing it this way, is to do it from the keyword searches, because then that's something you can compare right away. So either hitting that competition analyzer up at the top or hitting this competition button is going to bring you to the same place. It's just so you don't have to go to competition analyzer and type in work-life balance.
Yep, copy paste whatever that search field was.
Really cool part of this tool is it brings up so you can kind of see what other books are out there. You can say, hey, are these some books that I might be able to beat? And when you're looking at the competition, you're saying, hey, can I beat that for that search term? If you were to have a book title, like let's say I would have titled my book Work-Life Balance for Men, that would be pretty strong as far as beating some of these other titles and keywords out. If you look at just the first five don't have work-life balance in any of these titles. This one has workbook for finding balance, but it doesn't have work-life balance for men or anything like that. So you're looking at far as, obviously you got to do all the other stuff. You got to get sales, you got to get reviews, you got to make sure that all that stuff is good, make sure the conversion rate's high, but that's going to give you a chance to be on a page like this.
The conversion rate is high. What do you mean by that?
So that's just another way Amazon, as far as we know, as far as what we know about their, behind closed doors algorithm, if you have better conversion rates, so the more people that you are sending to your page or are visiting your page and are actually ending up buying your book, that's going to be your conversion rate. And that's just something that as far as we understand, Amazon factors into your rankings and how much your book is going to show up. So if you have 100 people go to your book's page and 90 of them purchase it, Amazon's going to say, whoa, this book, is selling like hotcakes. Let's bump it up. Let's do some work on let's get paid. Amazon wants to make money too.
Right.
And they make money by selling our books. So
they'll put it in front of more eyeballs, hoping that the conversion rate stays at that rate.
Yep.
Got it.
And then the other things you can do with this competition analysis here, if you had a book that was close, maybe it did have it in the title, or maybe you just want to see, you want to see the book real quick on Amazon. You can go into check it out here. And when I do this, I don't want to click it right now because of the connection issues. But if you click that, it's going to pop you over to that book's page on Amazon. So you can see what they have as far as sales copy. You can see the book cover maybe a little bit bigger. This just gives you an intro to what is going on there. But if you say, hey, I like that term, I think I can beat that term, add it to your list as far as what you're going to try to shoot for and add it to your box. And then another thing to consider with this, we talked about titles and competition, but is it a keyword that nope, we are not going to restart now. Sorry about that. Is it a keyword that you want to be trying to rank for? Do you want your book to show up with those other books? Does it make sense?
Right.
Okay. So, I mean, that's just a very, very brief thing on that. I do a lot, when we talked about this in one of our videos, Rob, we kind of went on and said, hey, how do we think of an idea for a book? What are we looking at with that? That was one of our previous lives.
Yep.
I do more of the competition analysis within Amazon itself. Now, this is great data. I just personally, I like seeing it on Amazon. So I don't utilize this tool or this feature as much, but it's definitely something where I could see people really utilizing this and seeing what's out there and comparing very quickly. I think that's the benefit is you can type in multiple search terms, make a list. Is this something I want to do? Check it off. Yep, I'm going to use that, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
All right.
So we've gone over keyword search and then the competition analyzer. And so moving on, the next category that we're looking at.
Yep. So we're going to jump into category search, which Dave, at this video, he gave this one a complete overhaul, and I love how it looks. It's super cool. We're going to look at separate here just because, when we are adding our categories into Amazon, we talked previously again about, a tip where you could actually connect with Amazon through their help feature within KDP. And you can say, hey, I'd like my book to be in these 10 categories. This is how we find those categories. This is just a really easy way to check the competition, find good categories for your book, and then get all of those listed out. Because when you send the email to Amazon, you need to be very clear about the category that your book is going in. You can't just say, I want my book to go in, the work-life balance category. They're going to say, sorry, but we're not going to look that up for you. We need to get the actual strings, and you'll see that in a second here, what I mean. So you would actually copy and paste the information that Dave has in here, and he has it in here for that reason, so you can do that. So Rob, you want to give me another topic here so we don't have to talk about bats and we don't have to talk about balance?
Yeah, well, how about we recently helped publish Monica Campbell's Fountain of Youth, Cracking the Fountain of Youth Code. So it's about women's health, women's empowerment, personal development, health, hormonal fitness, all these things. So we can kind of look at some of those categories.
Good deal. Let's do that. So we could either do it multiple different ways. And I kind of tend to do the more top-down approach and very broad just to see what's out there. And I also like to look at, kind of making it a little bit more specific. So let's start with women's health. And I'm going to type that up here in the box and see if anything pops up for women's health. And you can see right away that we're already getting things that are actually there's a category for women's health. So this is one category you want to make sure that that's in there. We're not always looking at competition. You want to have a good mix of categories that are 100%. They totally relate to your book, and also categories that you may be able to rank in. So let's say for instance, and it's really cool how he has this organization here. You're able to sort by the ranking, and this ABSR stands for Amazon bestseller ranking.
Okay.
So the higher in this case, the better for us. But if you were selling your book, the lower is the better. So if the book was ranked #1 on Amazon, it's selling probably like 1 million copies a day. I don't know how many exactly, but it's selling a lot because it's Amazon and they want to sell it, and it's selling a lot of copies.
Right.
If it's ranked under 10,000, it's something where, it may take a lot of sales for you to get, and we'll actually link to it. And I'm gonna write down too real quick. Dave has another cool tool on his site that kind of goes in tandem with this, where you can kind of see the average sales per day that a book at that rank may be having. And that's helpful because it kind of gives you an idea, okay, ranks fluctuate. Amazon updates this hourly, but if I was going to try to be a bestseller, #1 bestseller in women's health, I'm going to have to sell a lot of books for that day, and also over a period of days, because there's a weighted ranking system that I won't get into. It's complicated. We don't even know 100%. We only know what we think we know about Amazon.
We can infer.
Yeah. So we're not going to get into that, but really you want to look at something as far as, mixing it up. This is a perfect category to add. And then this category right here, if your book fits in there, it maybe, you probably don't want to put a book about women's health if your book has nothing to do, with nursing, maternity, or perinatal. How do I say it?
Perinatal. Yep.
Perinatal. Yeah. If your book doesn't have anything to do with those, then I would suggest not putting in that category.
Mhm.
But if you touch on it, if you have a chapter on it, maybe if you just mention it, that's something you can add
Yep.
there, because
Mhm.
this is a category that's very much 30,000 ranked. I would add that category as maybe more of one of my bottom, one of the ones that I'm like, hey, it may not totally describe my book, but it's going to be very easy to be, especially #1 new release, but you can be a bestseller in that. So
Awesome.
this is just the power of that tool, is being able to sort it. So if there's more here, and I'll show you more right here, we're just going to look for health.
Mhm.
You don't even have
So-
to hit enter. Go ahead.
And before we go on, I just want to say it looks like we have at least a handful of viewers live on both YouTube and Facebook. So thanks everybody for stopping in. If you have any questions as we're messing around and doing some of this stuff, feel free to leave them. I will do my best to keep an eye on the comments here. And again, thanks Jordan for demoing this, and let's continue on.
Sure thing. Yeah, I was going to go click and look at the comments, but I forgot I was screen sharing and a little parallax back there. So I'm going to stay on KDP or at Publisher Rocket.
Okay.
And then I'll let you handle the questions and whatnot, Rob.
Yep.
So let's say you typed in health here on this category, and I have an ebook. And important to mention, if you were going to look up women's health, actually, Rob, let's do that real quick before we do this one, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
I want to show you what the differences are. You can see the category looks very different. The strings are going to look very different from what we just looked at.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're emailing Amazon, you got to do these separately. You got to do the Kindle 10 categories.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you have a print book, you're going to do a print book 10 categories that you're going to email and let them know about, because the strings are different. Everything's kind of different. There's different show up, and the whole system's different. So make sure you're just switching between here. I think it's easier because that's what we're doing, because we're trying to get 10 in each one. We don't necessarily want to look both. I think it's better just to do it one at a time. So
got it.
Just note that there. But let's look up health. I want to show you how you can kind of organize. This is a big, there's tons of categories, tons of books on health within Amazon. You can see right here, there's tons. The thing here is you can organize them by the average bestseller rank. So I'm just going to click that. And it's going to help us by looking at the ones that are going to be the easiest to potentially rank for. But obviously important to consider is, we're looking at health in foreign at niche. Great. That's definitely something you can rank in as far as category goes. But there's going to be a ton in here that aren't necessarily going to relate. So I would just, you could look at all of them. Certainly recommend that you spend a little bit of time in seeing. But I usually skip down a little bit just to see what is going on here. And then I would even what are some of your chapter titles? Maybe even helpful to have your outline next to you, ready to go. So that you can kind of just have a refresher on what you got going on. If you mention Pilates, like here, go ahead and add that to your list as far as ebook categories.
Right.
And you can just keep scrolling down. You're going to see a ton of categories, but maybe your book does work for teens and young adult. You definitely want to make sure you're
cool. Well, I think we're losing you a little bit, Jordan. We'll see if that connection comes back.
Rob, did you lose me?
Oh, I sure did. Yeah, definitely lost you.
Are we back? Are we back?
I think so. I think we're good.
All right. Sorry again, guys.
Welcome back.
Well, yeah, welcome. Thank you for welcoming me. Where did we leave off? I think I was just talking about, really you want to make sure that your category strings are right and are for your book and fit. But then this is just a way of finding, looking through. This is the way I recommend looking through it is, getting a big category. You can look through all the categories that are going to fit, and then start looking at some of the more overarching categories through search, or you can do that even just even just on here, you can look through all the categories. You don't even necessarily have to search. So if you know your book's going to go into medical ebooks, you could check it out, and then kind of it'll take you to the same page that we were just at. And then you can kind of see what's going on there as far as rankings, as far as what the categories are. So again, you want to make sure your book has good high level categories, because if your book shows up as a #1 bestseller in those, that's awesome, good for you. But then you also want to have some that you're getting into that are a little bit on the lower range, less competition, but still work for your book.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Got it.
All right, good deal. We'll jump over to, if you're good, Rob, we'll jump over to the AMS search.
Yeah. Okay. So just to summarize the category, find something that is, maybe more specific and tailored to it. Kind of see what's out there. If it doesn't come up with a whole ton of categories, go a little bit broader, and then potentially search sort of reverse rank order to see what are the lowest competition all the way down to the highest competition, and then try and find some that are appropriate so that you're more likely to rank higher in some of those, as well as potentially those reach categories where it's going to be harder to rank on the first page, let's say, or at the top of the category list, but potentially you could get there, and you want to have that broader exposure. That's the summary of the general category search philosophy, right?
Yep, you got it.
Cool.
Now, before we jump into the AMS keyword search, I want to jump back to the keyword search for a second, because I just want to talk about what we would do here. We'll go back to bats, but I just want to bring up the screen to show you. So as you go through your keywords, as you start to look up different ones, you're going to hit the analyze button, get the competition ready to go. And then for the ones that you like, you'll be able to export that. So if I hit this export button, it's going to put it into a CSV, comma separated values, which you can turn into an Excel spreadsheet. And that's what we recommend doing. All the keywords that you like, get in one place and kind of have that ready to go. That'll not only help you sort and be able to pick your keywords for your 7 boxes within Amazon, but it's also going to make this AMS keyword search a whole heck of a lot easier too.
Okay.
So with that, you have, when I go to do this, I have a keyword spreadsheet that I have for my book ready to go. I'm just going to pull out all the keywords from there, and I'm going to plug all those keywords in there. So one of them would have been work-life balance, or we can even just do women's health, since we moved on from balance. I didn't type that right. Sorry. Yeah, it corrected it for me, so we're good. So Amazon, we have a list here of just keywords. Now, there's not going to be much information. The whole point right here is just to type in or copy and paste what you have, and then export that again. So really, we're making a huge list of keywords that you can plug into Amazon advertising that you're going to try to, do pay-per-click. You're going to try to get within Amazon advertising and use those keywords to put your book out there. We recommend just, putting in all the keywords that you think are closely related to your book, exporting those, getting a spreadsheet, removing any duplicates. There's some tools that you can have to do that. I think Excel maybe even have some built-in tools to be able to do that. But this is just the way to get your keywords all together. And you're not looking for just a couple hundred here. You want to find, maybe 2,000, 3,000. You want to find as many keywords that are targeted and related to your book's content as you can. And this is going to pick keywords that Amazon has. It's going to pick keywords from Google. And it's also going to pick other authors. If I scroll down here a little bit, you'll start to see authors pop up. You'll also be competing and doing pay-per-click on those authors. And what that means is if someone types in that author on Amazon, say it's a book that's really close to yours on women's health, that's going to be part of the searches, part of the sponsored searches within there. I know that's a lot. I don't know if there's any questions you had on that, Rob, but this is most helpful when you go through and have your keywords already ready to go. And you can certainly sit there and kind of do it, shooting from the hip and putting them in, and that can work. But I would recommend having a list already set that you're going to go through for this, and then just getting as many as you can. And
so this is for the AMS keyword search portion, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So to summarize, when you're doing your keyword search, you find the appropriate keywords that are going to meet all the check marks that we talked about before. Relatively high dollar value, relatively low competition rank, high volume of searches, etc. You export those, and then you use these within the AMS keyword search to kind of tweak and optimize and figure out what's going to work for you. Is that that an accurate summary?
Yep. You got it.
Cool. Right on. I also wanted to say, since I noticed just now, we have a couple of people over in the watch party on Dale's group. Thank you. Monique, Mojo, thanks for stopping in. W.O. Wyburn, thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you guys hanging out and watching the video on YouTube, on Facebook, on Dale's group, and the Archangel Inc. page. So again, anybody else watching this in the replay or not live, feel free to leave comments and questions. We will do our best to answer them and address them in upcoming videos. But we'll just keep on plugging for now. And again, thank you everybody who is watching us live.
Good deal. Yeah, guys, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate you spending some time with us. This is a program that I really like, and there's not a lot of programs that as far as self-publishing goes that we necessarily recommend. I mean, there's some really good ones out there, but this one is one of the best. It's one of the ones that keeps coming up. I know a ton of people use it. Definitely worth it to get. We'll put in some links as far as how to get it, maybe a little bit some more information about it, so you can find those in the resources after we post the video.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. Okay. Another question about AMS, or Amazon as it is as known currently. So, and this may be beyond the scope of this video. What should I be looking at as an ad budget? How much should I expect to spend? What is a reasonable ROI? Let's say I do all the things here. I work on it. I get it kind of tweaked, and I'm targeting my audience effectively, or as effectively as one can hope. What should I expect? What should I be, setting aside and, hoping for in terms of a return?
Yeah, sure. I think it definitely is. It's not necessarily beyond the scope. I think it's definitely something to talk about, but also it is a really in-depth subject. And we'll link out to Dave Chesson again, has a course on how to use. He talks about Publisher Rocket, I think a little bit in the AMS course, but it's about how to do Amazon advertising. Right. There's also some other resources out there. I know that Dale always links out to a certain person's course, and I can't remember that person's name. He always links out to them as far as that person has a really good content about doing Amazon advertising. But as far as budget goes, as far as what you're looking at, I view Amazon ads, there's people that say, hey, they don't work, that maybe they're too expensive. And it is hard. It's hard to do Amazon ads for books specifically, because, you're paying for ad space. And then even when you get people down that funnel and you get a sale, you're not getting a whole ton. So it's hard to find an ad budget that really works long term.
So you're not getting a whole ton. In other words, just because of the way ebooks are generally priced, or ebooks, I guess, probably in paperbacks are generally priced on Amazon. Yeah.
So I know I've heard people that, heard of people that sell things for a higher amount. Let's say they're selling it for $75 on Amazon. Maybe they're getting a good percentage of that. Maybe that's Amazon FBA or something like that. This is just from, people I've talked to about this. They have a little bit more wiggle room to spend a little bit more on the ads, maybe go $1 or $2 per click, to send that traffic. And you really can't, unless it's a perfect keyword, it's really hard to spend $1 or $2 per click, because not everyone that clicks on an ad is going to buy. That's just the way it is. It's only going to be a percentage of that. So it can be hard to be seen, but also keep the budget low enough to make it work and have a positive ROI.
Right.
But all that being said, I see Amazon ads as a really useful tool for generating some of your own sales when you're launching your book. You want to be using social media, you want to be using your own audience and your own platform. But as far as just within Amazon, as far as ads go, this is just another tool to use for a launch that we recommend. I would always, I think it depends on the book and the market and all that, but I think you definitely want to have some kind of budget. I don't know. I can't really think dollar amount off the top of my head, because even if you have a set budget, a dollar amount, it may, and it is sometimes hard to get Amazon to spend that money. Even if you're like, Amazon, here's my money, spend it. They're like,
Interesting. So explain that. Why is that? Is it that just because they only kind of tally against your ledger if they can get those impressions, and if it's just a low volume kind of search term or something, then they just don't have enough people to set it in front of, and therefore they're just not collecting that money?
Yep. So all the things you just mentioned, and the fact that if you're So they factor conversion rates into this too. So if you're getting a lot of traffic and Amazon is putting those ads out there, their primary thing and their primary sticking point is user experience. They want their customers to feel good about being on Amazon. Now, if they're displaying your ad to, 3,000, 4,000 people and not very many people are clicking, and then even the people that are clicking are not going on to buy, they're going to very quickly not show your ad because they don't want to have something that is just sitting there.
It's just a dead end for them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's challenging to, and if you bump up, even if you bump up your ad spend, they may sometimes do the same exact thing. So yeah, it can be hard to spend the money versus other platforms. If they're starting out, they're like, yeah, just we have the room. But Amazon is so like I don't know if fine tune's the right word, but they want to have everything running smoothly. And if your content's not matching up to whatever expectations they have for it, it's going to be hard to get it out there.
Right. Yeah, no, I get it. That makes sense. Dale has commented, yes, relevancy is the name of the game on Amazon and in Amazon ads as well. So yeah, having something that is going to actually perform well and is going to speak to, the people and what they're actually searching for is a prerequisite. The Amazon can't just generate interest for you organically. They can, kind of channel the interest that exists into certain pathways, and hopefully, if you are spending that Amazon ad money, but but it's not necessarily going to all of a sudden make people start searching for South Pacific bats, or yeah.
Very good.
Got it.
Good callback, Rob. I love it.
Thank you. I did my best. You guys were the suggested. Oh, cool. Dale says you guys were the suggested video after his video launched today. So super cool. Thank you, Dale. Always great to follow in the footsteps of a pioneer such as yourself.
Of greatness.
Of greatness. Thank you. Okay, cool. So we've got AMS keyword search. We'll definitely include the link to that AMS course or Amazon Ads course now. Is there anything else that you want to cover? I know this is just designed to be an intro and we're 45 minutes in, so we don't have to go super deep in there, but I think this is a nice way for people to get familiar with some of the functionality that that Publisher Rocket offers, and get a sense of what they can do with it. Also, again, from our perspective and from perspective of the folks that we work with, a lot of times people think, well, that's really cool. It's neat to know that all that can be done. It seems like a whole lot, and I don't necessarily want to do it myself. Yeah. So it's a way to kind of give a peek behind the curtain at what Archangel Inc. or folks out there who are doing marketing work, who are helping authors to kind of target their audience and achieve their publishing goals. Gives them a peek behind the curtain into a little bit of what they're actually doing to kind of make that happen.
Yeah, and it's funny, Rob, because I think of myself as a big picture, kind of my writing on its audience is more encouraging and all that. But for whatever reason, I love keywords. I love spending time looking. I totally geek out on it. As we've joked about before, you and Christy are like, okay, Jordan, go ahead and play with your keywords. I like it. I find it enjoyable just to kind of see what people are looking for, and I think that's, again, don't get. If you're watching this, don't get overwhelmed by all of the little details here. Just think of it as keywords are what people are buying. They're what people are looking for. It's just it's a peek into the user experience. And the fact that we get to see that and get a little bit of a window into that is, it's really cool. And it can really help determine all of the things for your book. And if you're willing, it can help determine your book's content as well, because you're working towards a potential audience in here.
Right. Exactly. So Dale says that's why I like you, Jordan, because you like those details and that kind of thing. He also says, let me try and show this on screen for everybody here. The new search term feature is a game changer. When you can find the exact keyword phrase used to convert a sale, you can double down on that term and build derivatives from that. So yeah, that's really cool. And that kind of harkens back to something that we talked about in one of our earlier episodes, Jordan, and that is, you don't necessarily have access through Amazon to who's buying your book when it's an organic sale. But when it is an Amazon ads kind of generated sale, you get some of the metrics, some of the information, some of the data about who and when and where, and
Yes.
So that's really cool. That I think that is really one of the strengths of advertising in general. It gives you a chance to get that actual feedback. You have dollars and cents on the line, and it's not just playing a game of blind darts, and you're throwing stuff against the wall, and then somebody says, "Okay, you won," but you don't know actually, if you're tossing the dart in the right direction or not. When you have this, there's a little bit more regular feedback. So that's kind of cool. And as Dale's talking about, with this search term feature, if you can find something that works really well and is going to really resonate with your target market, then give all sorts of variations on that, and then just keep tweaking it and refining it, like we were doing earlier. We did that work-life balance, and then we scanned down work-life balance for men. You're like, oh well, this is really interesting. That one actually seems to be a little bit of a stronger performer. And then maybe you might find out, if you dive deeper down that rabbit hole, that there's a whole book worth of interest in that topic, and maybe you have information and things that you want to share on it, and that could kind of shift the direction of your project, so that again, you are targeting what people are looking for. You're using that window into the soul of the user experience, and you're saying, hey, I'm here to serve you. Let me try to provide something that is going to be abundant in value for you.
Yep. Yeah, and I just wanted to add there too, Rob. I think we may have mentioned this before, but some of one of the coolest things is exactly what you said about doing Amazon ads. Mm-hmm. You get a window into what's working, as far as if your book is converting. It's really hard to tell that. It's hard to gauge sales versus maybe some of your own traffic that you're sending, unless you have some really specific, this day I'm going to send an email to my list and I'm not doing anything else. Right. Then maybe you can see that. But Amazon ads lets you see right up front whether your book is converting, and it can be a very important to do during pre-launch phase of your book, as you're getting things set up on Amazon, as you're building out your sales copy. If you're sending 100 people to your book's page and you're not getting any conversions, then you may need to look at that sales copy. Do you have a good header? Do you have a good call to action at the end?
Right.
I mean, something is wrong if you have that many. Something's not working, and it's it doesn't matter however much I like the sales copy that I wrote. Oh, that describes my book. No one would. Everyone go to this page. It's perfect. Everyone would buy this. Well no.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't work.
Other people, namely your readers and your buyers, have a say too. And if they tell you that it's not perfect, and your content actually isn't reaching them, then you have to listen. Or I mean, you don't, but you may not get the results that you're looking for.
Yeah, and sometimes it can suck because you may not know exactly why.
Right.
Maybe the book that you wrote people aren't liking the cover, or the title isn't appealing. You can do a lot with your sales copy to kind of, once they're drawn in to the page, if they're getting to your page, they have at least some interest. And that them reading that sales copy and that book description is your chance to say, this is what you're looking for, and you'd be crazy not to buy it.
Right.
But that takes some work.
Right. And that's something that has stuck with me when I learned about sales description writing. You're trying to anticipate the objections of your reader. Your reader's like, I'm interested, but I don't know if this is really for me. And you're like, you're probably thinking, I'm interested, but this isn't really for me. Let me tell you why it actually is exactly the right book for you. Yep. And it gives you that chance to engage with them, to show that you are familiar with them, that you can speak their same language, understand what they're looking to get out of it, and and that you're able to provide it. Because honestly, I mean, if you're willing to go that extra mile, then chances are you actually did create content that is going to speak to them and target them, and because you're already finding them. You're finding the people who are right for it. So that's just something to keep in mind, and something that I've kept with me. I want to mention as well, Zach asks, is Publisher Rocket useful for novel writing? Mojo replies, yes. And keywords are a must, especially for fiction. Dale, always great catching you guys. Need to make and eat ice cream. Great seeing you. Thank you, Dale. Enjoy your ice cream. Enjoy that. Did you want to say anything on keywords and Publisher Rocket for novel writing, Jordan?
Yes, I think it's definitely, you can do pretty much everything that we just did. You can do exactly the same with fiction.
Right.
You may think, well, I'm writing about dark elves fantasy. What else are people looking for with that? You may be surprised. I don't know. I've never looked that up. But there may be other types that you can check out with that. You can see what the competition is looking like. Yeah, there's really, I have not written any fiction books myself, so I wouldn't be the best person to go through Publisher Rocket with that in mind. But I would imagine it would be very similar. And then I know that Mojo, like you said, just kind of popped in there. Thank you for that, Mojo. We appreciate that.
Yes,
with that very helpful comment. So yes, I would say from my experience with it, it's just as important for fiction writing. You're going to be putting you're going to still be doing the 7 keywords in Amazon. You still have to come up with stuff for that. You're still going to be adding it to your 10 categories for each. And you're also going to be hopefully doing Amazon ads, and you're going to need that as well. So,
yep. Yeah. And again, I mean, potentially, I suppose it may not translate over in the same way exactly, when you're building your table of contents or something. But, when you're doing that keyword research, potentially that could be, table of content. You can kind of pepper it with some of those key terms and categories and things that are going to pique the interest of your target demographic. And yeah, so Mojo uses it for both fiction and nonfiction. The other thing I would say too, because this information is largely about, or the information that Publisher Rocket compiles is objective. It's about, sales rankings. It's about earnings. It's about search volume. It's about, category strength, those kinds of things. All of that is still relevant to fiction. You still have the same principles at play. You still want to find something where there is a relatively low competition, but relatively high, average earnings and relatively high quantity of people actually, looking for that topic. So, all of that is going to translate across both fiction and nonfiction, whatever you're talking about.
Yeah, I think just one more thing with that, Rob. If you're looking at keyword wise, you may find a keyword that better describes what you're looking at. Maybe nobody searches for dark elves fantasy, and then maybe everyone searches for magical fairy elves, or it's something close, but something that also still works. But that's what the people want. That's what the people are searching for.
Right.
And you find it's not a big deal for you to say, oh, well, I could just change my title because that's what people are looking for, and that works for what I'm writing about and whatnot. And that example was terrible, but as far as thinking about it, it's just one way to think about it.
Yeah, cool. Right on. Exactly, says Mojo. So
thank you. Cool. Okay, I feel better about that.
Good.
Thanks,
good. All right. I think I'm good here. Jordan, was there any other thoughts, comments you wanted to share?
No, I'm good. I think if anyone watching this now or in the future has any more questions about Publisher Rocket, we'd be happy to, we're going to just jump on, and Rob and I want to do these videos just to help out you guys as much as we possibly can, and just to share our knowledge and the things we really enjoy working on, and our experiences with all this stuff. So, we're happy to even jump in again. And, if we can do a live, say, hey, Jordan, I really want you to dig into the category search. Can you just go over this for all these different things? That's something we could consider if it's helpful to our audience. So just wanted to mention that, we're always here to be as helpful as we can.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, I feel pretty good. Jordan, thank you for demoing. Thank you for pulling up Publisher Rocket and talking us through it and answering questions for the neophyte and seasoned author alike. And everybody else, please feel free to like, comment, share, do all of that good stuff. Show us love on video, on our platforms. Let us know if there's something you want us to cover. Again, if you really like this or something else similar to this, let us know. We will be back once again coming up for Archangel Link Live 14 next week, I think, hopefully. It's getting close to Christmas time, but we will be we'll be continuing on, I think, more or less through the holiday and New Year. So we'll figure that out, and keep an eye out for details on subsequent live videos and when they'll be.
Good deal. Thanks, guys.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.